I think the best interview on your show that Professor Stiglitz has ever done. Last Saturday, I was in Germany at an economic meeting, and we were discussing this very interview there. And what they're pointing out is that in Europe, in Germany, and all of Europe, it's illegal for the central bank to finance government debt. All of Europe is being subjected to austerity now because of the way in which their constitution is written. So they're saying, wait a minute, when we run a deficit, we have to raise interest rates and impose austerity. And in the United States, they are doing just the opposite. They're lowering interest rates to buy us out. And the interview that Professor Stiglitz here was quite right. America is doing all of this. The Fed is doing this to cover up the huge fraud that he talks about. He's right. These people should be in jail, and you shouldn't bail them out. You're keeping the debt that was run out by the junk mortgages and the fraudulent lending. You're keeping that in place, pricing American labor out of the market and making it impossible for America to earn its way out of debt. So in Europe, they're saying, how can America ever repay these dollar debts that they're running up? They can't repay, and that's why the euro is going up against America. And that's why they say, we want to now talk to the BRIC countries, to China, to the third world, and move into a currency area with them and just isolate the dollar so they can't do the kind of financial warfare that they've been engaging in.
Well, in terms of how countries can respond, one of the things that obviously a lot of the Asian countries did during the financial crisis in the late 1990s was currency controls, in essence trying to prevent foreign capital from either leaving or entering the country. Is that something that you envision some of these countries?
Yes, there's only one country that did that, and that was Malaysia under Prime Minister Tun Muhammad Mahathir. He would not sell the domestic currency to the foreign speculators, so George Soros and the others who sold the currency short, hoping that the central bank would use all of its money just to defend its currency and then be emptied out, they couldn't cover their position. So they were squeezed. But countries like Korea, where the meetings, the G20 meetings are this week, the IMF went and said, you owe money, you can't pay, George Soros has raided you, you have to sell Americans, your electric companies, you have to sell Americans, your car companies, and this was a grab that in past centuries, there would have had to be a military invasion to take over, and now they're doing it financially, and they're angry over there.
You were advising Kucinich when he was running for president. What do you think President Obama should do, and what do you think he did wrong, since people say it's the economy that took him down in the elections?
He has always represented Wall Street's interest. His protector in the Senate was Joe Lieberman, and part of the Democratic Leadership Council. And during the last presidential campaign, he won because he said he was for change. And Dennis Kucinich kept saying, here is the change in the law that I've recommended. He said exactly what he would do. Mr. Obama never said what he would do, and it's obviously the case that he saw that the public wanted change. If you want to get elected, you say there's for change. But what he's turned into is the third Bush-Cheney administration. He's reappointed the worst of the Bush people, like Tim Geithner at the Treasury Secretary. He's kept on the most right wing of the Clinton people as his economic advisors. He is essentially in Wall Street's pocket, and that's not change at all. And that's why so many people were so disappointed. They believed that he was going to be for change, and he's a good speaker, but he had no intention of doing the change at all, as we now see. And he still has not come out and said that America needs anything except more debt, more bailouts for the banks. People were angry because the banks were bailed out, and now the Republicans were saying he didn't give them enough. They're angry because he didn't give Wall Street enough and cut taxes enough on the rich. That's not why people were angry. They're angry because he gave money to the rich, do the exact opposite. So I guess you could say Mr. Obama and Mr. Kucinich are at opposite ends of the political spectrum.
What should he do right now?
What he should do is essentially bring the debts down to the ability to pay. He'd promised that he was going to renegotiate mortgages to the current value of housing. That would mean writing down housing by about 30%, so it could be affordable again. But he hasn't done that. In the government, he has prevented the state attorney generals from prosecuting financial fraud and from forcing the banks to renegotiate the mortgages wages down to what American consumers can afford. And Mr. Obama has blocked this, and so all 50...
And also what the real value of many of those properties are.
Either the market price or the rental price. So essentially, people would pay to own a house pretty much what you'd pay to rent. That's the definition of equilibrium in economics. But right now they're paying much more on their mortgage than they could go and rent an apartment for, and they can't afford it. People are out of work, and the result is that there's a debt squeeze, and so that's why I said this is deflationary, not inflationary. What should be inflated are American wages, American living standards, tangible investment. Instead, what's inflated is debt and the financial sector at the expense of the production and consumption.
What do you expect to happen at the G20 meeting that's coming up now?
The same thing that happened 2 weeks ago. Absolutely nothing. They will all agree that the soup was very good, that the food was nice, and that they will have further discussions, but America will not get any of what it's asking for from them, because they're going to say, look, we're not going to let you create electronic keyboard credit and buy out our real estate and our industry and empty out our bank reserves like you did in the 1997 Asia crisis. That's never going to happen again, and the world is going to begin splitting into two currency blocks, the brick block and the dollar block.
We're going to have to leave it there. Michael Hudson, president of the Institute for the Study of Long-Term Economic Trends, distinguished research professor of economics at University of Missouri, Kansas City, author of Super